from $3 all the way up this same breakout move. If we were to break above that over the past week, we actually managed to. So one of the things to really master in the stock market is to understand patterns, right? Essentially chart patterns. But the thing is that there's so many patterns, more than 20, 30 over patterns. And what are kind of like the best patterns to really focus on to ride massive gains in the stock market? Hey guys, Joey here, Optimizer, trader in Phillip Securities, and in this video, I'll be sharing with you guys the top 2 patterns that I always look out for to ride massive gains, right? So if you don't know what these 2 patterns are, and more importantly, how do you actually utilize this pattern and when to actually get in, make sure you watch this video all the way to the end. And I'll be sharing with you guys some live case studies as well after sharing with you guys the entire framework, so you have a better understanding on how to spot these patterns on a real life stock. Let's go. Okay, so back to my whiteboard, and one of the patterns we look out for will be what we call a consolidation pattern, especially if a stock is already in an uptrend. So in terms of like trending, you can check out my other videos as to how to tell if a stock is in an uptrend or a downtrend. But let's assume that the stock is in an uptrend and we have been kept below what we call a very key resistance level right up here. So a couple of weeks, couple of months, we see prices heading to this price level, and it starts coming down, retracing back down. There's just a lot of sellers over there. But somewhere along the line, finally, one fine day, we see this stock breaking above that very key resistance level, and it is already in an uptrend. Plus we break that level that has been holding for many months. So that could be a very good sign that buyers are prepared to take it higher, and that's where you can also think about getting in terms of this chart pattern. This is what we call a breakout trade, right? In terms of a consolidation chart pattern in an uptrend, a breakout to the upside. So that's a good thing. That is where, right, you can start to time your entry to get in to potentially ride the upside targets all the way to maybe the next resistance level. So the next pattern would be what we call an ascending triangle pattern right over here. So same thing, right? Whenever you see stocks or kind of like any asset classes consolidating below a very key resistance level, that is where you want to put this stock in your watch list. I mean, it's kind of like capped below a key level, so it shows that there's some selling and some profit taking, right? But the question is, what if that level actually gives way and the stock is in an uptrend? All right, that's where if it breaks that level, you can set some price alert to be alerted such that you will get notified if that price level were to break out, right? So this chart pattern is what we call an ascending triangle pattern. So it looks slightly different from the one on the left, right? This is number 2. Number 2 would be slightly more bullish, I would say, well, because you can see that for number 2, right, we actually have been forming what we call higher lows, right? So you can see it starts to head towards the resistance, it sells down, went all the way down, buyers came back up, and it pushed all the way back up again. Same thing, right? The same level, the same resistance, price level, sellers came back and it starts selling down and down again. But the point here is that as it sold down, you can see buyers are actually coming back to buy at higher prices. So you can see, right, the lows actually gets higher, the lows get higher, so buyers are prepared to buy at higher prices. It doesn't go back down to the previous low or even lower, right? It just went down a little bit, buyers came back up, and it starts rebounding up. But as it rebounds up, as I mentioned, we are still capped below that key horizontal price resistance level, right? So same thing. When could you potentially take a trade based on this ascending triangle pattern? Well, when we were to see this same breakout move, if we were to break above that very key resistance level, that is potentially where I would say this resistance will turn into a support level, and we can potentially start to see more upside above this new support level, and that's where you could ride the uptrend even further. So let's take a look at some live case study to see if you can spot any of these 2 patterns, the consolidation pattern and even the ascending triangle pattern, which is more bullish, I would say, right? So let's check out this stock right up here called SATS Services. And by the way, guys, if you like this video, you found some value so far, I would really appreciate it. You can give me a like, smash the subscribe button so that you will not miss out on any videos like this, and it will definitely help out the channel as well. Thank you so much, right? So let's dive into this company called SATS, S-A-T-S, one of the stocks that we actually covered over the past few weeks, and you can see that this pattern has what we call a consolidation pattern. What do I mean by a consolidation? So remember, when I shared with you guys number one right over here, we have what we call a sideways consolidation. So this is a pattern that is already in an uptrend, or it can kind of like form in the stock that is somewhere at the bottom as well. So it might be a downtrend, down, 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 and we see it moving up and down, above and below this support and the resistance level, and finally it breaks that resistance. Remember the price level whereby there's a lot of sellers, finally that gives way. That is where potentially we can see more upside. So this is what we call an uptrending stock. But for SATS Services, you can see right over here, we actually traded down, down, down somewhere in like 2023, and we were actually consolidating sideways. Look at this, right? It swings down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, up, down, up. Look at this, right? So it kind of like move up and down over the past 1 over year, from about $2.40 to the very key psychological resistance level at the $3. Look at this, right? $3 touch, we came down, we neared it, we came down, we neared it, we came down, touch, we came down. So about 4 or 5 times for more than a year, we have approached that $3 resistance, and we just couldn't get above it, right? But we have found a support coming back around 240. So that was like the support level as well. So it was kind of like consolidating sideways as it just moves up and down for more than a year, right? So the key is that if it will to break that very key resistance level whereby we have been trading below for more than a year, that could mean something, right? That could mean something. So you can see right over here, over the past week, we have actually managed to break this resistance level at the $3. So we went to like about $3.05, $3.10 as well, and it started to push higher. So this is what we call a breakout trade, slightly different from what I've shown you guys, because in this case it is a stock that is already in an uptrend, whereas for SATS Services you can see that it has bottomed out. We are consolidating below a key resistance level that's given way, and now there could potentially be more upside. So this is one of the patterns that you can look out for. Of course, we have alerted some of our VIP clients in Philips Securities as well on this. All right, and it started to move up already. So what could be the upside targets? Well, upside targets could be revised from $3 all the way up to maybe about $3.60. So once you spot this pattern and it breaks above that resistance level, what we could do is to see how high a stock can go before we see some selling or some profit taking, right? Well, there are two ways. The first way is that we can get the consolidation. So you can see, right, it was like 240 to 360 for more than a year right over here. And what we could do is that we can extrapolate, all right, and if it breaks the $3, we could shift this up here, and you can see upside targets could be about $3.60, about a 60 cents upside targets, as was like from $2.40 to $3. Now it's like $3 all the way to $3.60. So that's the first method. If a stock is like in an all-time high, there's no past resistance or support to look at. But in this case for SATS Services, you can see that this price level in terms of the target kind of like matches the past as well. So you can see previously we were somewhere right over here, and we actually found a support at around $3.60 as well, right? Look at this, right? Couple of support, couple of rebounds near 350, 360, and coincidentally, right, this 360 coincides with that price level that we have kind of drawn right over here in terms of the target. So that's how you can project your target prices as well after breaking a key resistance. So in this case, this pattern we call a consolidation pattern, breakout after like more than a year of a sideways movement. Okay, let's move on to another case study whereby this stock came into my watch list over the past few months. A little bit of what we call an ascending triangle pattern, maybe a sideways consolidation. Let's go to find out. But you can see over the past like 1 to 2 months, we have found a little bit of a resistance right over here. That would be the $1 psychological level. So remember, right, when we talk about a chart pattern, most of the time we're going to see prices trading below a very key level. So in this case, it is a consolidation sideways, a resistance right here. In this case, number 2, it is a resistance level as well, but we form higher lows. In both of them, we have a price level whereby selling came back, all right, and prices just pull back and retrace down lower. So let's see if that actually happened for this particular stock, which it did, right? You can see right over here, $1, couple of touches, we came back down. Same thing with touch, we came back down. So that's where we found a little bit of a resistance over the past 2 to 3 months, right? And we can also draw what we call a consolidation right over here, a little bit of a support coming out, maybe around 90 cents as well. All right, and you can see it went down, but support became a little bit higher. So a little bit of a sideways consolidation while we were still trading below the $1 psychological resistance level. And for this stock, you can see that it is a little bit of an uptrend just by looking at the moving averages. We can look at the 100 days and the 200 days moving average. So if a stock is already in an uptrend plus it breaks that resistance level, that is a good thing. That shows that buyers are ready to take it higher to another level. So this is a little bit of what we call a consolidation pattern, number one. But if you look at it, is, can it be actually number two, whereby we can see like an ascending triangle pattern? Well, let's take a look at it again. You can see that. Let me just remove this horizontal price level. It is something like what we call an ascending triangle pattern as well, because over the past 5 to 6 months, you can see that we actually form what we call higher lows, right? So the lows were somewhere over here, it became here, it became here, and it became here as well. All right, so a little bit of an ascending triangle pattern, if you can see, right? So it looks pretty bullish, plus it is in an uptrend, and over the past week we actually managed to break above that $1 psychological level, right? So that is potentially where we may see more upside. It's what we call a breakout, right, based on the ascending triangle pattern. And what could be the upside targets? Well, based on the upside targets, we could take a look at the past to see if there's any past prices or any past resistance levels. So somewhere over here, you can see that we may see some selling maybe coming back all the way to like 110 to 1.15 right over here, and all the way to maybe about $1.25. So just by looking at the past prices, we can gauge where we may head to and where some selling can come back again. So let me just scroll back to where we were, all the way to here, and you can see that could be the upside targets from like $1 all the way to like 110 to 115. That could be the near-term upside targets. So that's the way we can get the upside targets. Or the next way, as I mentioned, we could get the consolidation over the past 2 to 3 months. So I mentioned, right, you can see right over here, we were consolidating like from 90 cents to $1, so it's like about a 10 cents range. And if you want to give a little bit of allowance, that could be kind of like the upside targets as well, like to about 110 to 1.15. So let's take a look at another case study called Singapore Airlines, SIA, to see if you can spot these two patterns that I talked about, right? You can see this is SIA, and over the past few months, we actually saw some resistance level, all right over here, around the $6.90. So that's where we kind of like sold off in February, somewhere in May, somewhere in June. And over the past like 1 over month, we managed to actually break the $6.90 or even the $7 resistance level. So that's a sign of strength as well, because it looks something like what we call a consolidation in an uptrend. So in terms of the moving averages, there are some signs of the trend pointing up. Plus, you can see we will actually consolidating higher, right? So that was the consolidation range, swing up, down, and finally pump, right? We break the resistance. That's where potentially we can start to see more upside all the way to maybe around the 740 to 760. So that's what we call a little bit of a sideways consolidation in an uptrend, whereby we break a resistance and we can potentially see targets being raised. So let's move on to the final case study called Bumi Tama Agri. And by the way, guys, if you want to get some of those ideas on some of the top Singapore stocks by WhatsApp Live daily, make sure you find out how to become a VIP client of mine in Philips Securities, where I'm a broker to get some of these ideas for free at no additional cost. So if you are like trading in Singapore, I mean, you have a trading account and you don't get any services from your own broker, you don't get any ideas or no videos, no WhatsApp, no trading ideas, nothing, then make sure you come aboard as a client. That's where you get some of those services as well, and you do not pay anything more at all, right? So let's dive into this stock right over here called Bumi Tama Agri, one of the stocks that we have covered since the past couple of months. We've shared it to our VIP clients as well, and you can see it is currently showing a little bit of an ascending triangle pattern, something like what I talked about just now, number 2. So when we look at an ascending triangle pattern, right, first thing first, you want to have a very key horizontal price level, whereby we cannot break above it. It's just a lot of sellers and it just keeps pulling back down. So that's number 1. Number 2, we want to spot what we call higher lows, and we can draw this upward sloping green line that is sloping upwards. And you can see each time it touches, it rebounds back up. So that's what we call an ascending triangle pattern. So for this company called Bumiputera Agri, we actually have a resistance level right around here, maybe somewhere around that 0.74 to 0.73 level. Look at this, right? So this is a little bit of a resistance. We have touched it once, came down over the past like 2 to 3 months. We neared it, came down. So about 0.72 to 0.74. That is a little bit of a selling zone whereby sellers are just coming out to push prices down for 3 to 4 times. But the key here is that each time it comes back down, you can see that we actually form higher lows. That means buyers are actually coming back to push it even higher. So this was the low we have seen previously in March. The low became a little bit higher in May, a little bit higher in June, a little bit higher in July. So you can see higher lows, and over the past couple of months as we were capped below that key resistance level. So the question is that if we were to actually break this resistance level over the past 3-4 months, this very key level that we've been trading below, right? And finally one fine day we were to break that 0.74 or 0.73 or maybe 0.75 for more confirmation, right? Could it actually lead to more upside? Well, that could be a possibility, especially if the volume is strong as well. We may start to see more upside as it pushes all the way up to maybe to 78 to that 80 cents. That could be the next upside target. So what you could do is to kind of like set an alert, like what I've done to set a price alert. So if it does go to like 74, 75, 76, you can be alerted, and that's where you could potentially take a position as well to get in to ride the next phase of the upside. So you can see, right, this is an ascending triangle pattern. That's number one. Number two, we form higher lows, and it is already a stock that is already in an uptrend. So all these will point to more upside if that key psychological resistance level actually gives way. So there we have it, guys. These are pretty much the top 2 chart patterns that I always try or seek to spot them. All right, and of course, once I spot them, I set my alerts. I see whether is it an uptrend, whether is it forming an ascending triangle pattern or a consolidation pattern. Of course, I give a little bit more weight to the ascending triangle pattern number 2, whereby we form what we call higher lows. And once my alert is hit, I'll take a look at the stock again to see if we can hold above that resistance, that turning to a new support level. If it does, great. It could be an opportunity to get in to ride the next phase or more upside, right? So I hope you found this video useful. If go ahead to give me a like, smash the subscribe button, that will definitely help out the channel, and thank you so much for doing so. As I mentioned just now, right, if you want to get some of those ideas that we share of some of the top Singapore stocks live by WhatsApp daily at no additional cost, make sure you click on the link around this video or below it. I'll place a link there. Find out how you can become a VIP client of mine in Phillip Securities, whereby we do share some of those ideas much faster, right, than the time it takes to record and produce a video like this and to edit it, right? So it's much faster. You get these videos, you get these ideas by WhatsApp live daily. So Joey here, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.